back. So day 2 of the policing summit is well underway at the Empress Palace. That's in Ekurhuleni. Yesterday, President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke on the opening of that gathering and reaffirmed that the crime epidemic, which has affected every sphere of society, including the SAPS, is primarily caused by corruption and a lack of public trust. The summit primarily, at least the purpose primarily, I beg your pardon, is to look into the high levels of crime and reflect on current policing approaches while developing more effective methods to combat criminality. Let's speak more about this with Professor Dumisani Mabunda, a criminologist at the Police Practice Department with Unisa. In fact, the Prof attended the gathering yesterday. I understand will also be there for day 2 and joins us now via our telephone line. Professor Mabunda, thank you for your time. Welcome to the SABC News Channel. It's great to have you. I understand you actually have a presentation at the summit about partnership policing and community policing. In layman's terms, are you able to break down for us what this actually means?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm currently at the summit, attending the second day now. The proceedings went well yesterday. The president was here, as you indicated in your intro. He highlighted the seriousness of crime in South Africa, and I'm very passionate about this because in my research I spend a lot of time doing research about what can be done to deal with the crime in South Africa, because it affects every one of us, whether directly or indirectly. So I presented a paper yesterday as a guest speaker, and I was speaking about hindrances to partnership policing and talking about Gauteng province only, because it's a hub of crime as things stand. People are flocking from all corners of the world to South Africa in search of green pastures, and then when they get here they find that there's no greener pastures, and then they start resorting in all sorts of criminality. Yeah.
And it's a multiplicity of issues, isn't it? I mean, yesterday the president spoke to the trust deficit that exists between police and communities. But to speak about the influx of people into Gauteng, the premier of the province also spoke about how many of the, much of the crime that's being committed is from undocumented immigrants, I'm using that term very loosely, who have no way of being identifiable. There are no fingerprints, we don't know who they are, and in fact, in many instances, don't even know that they're here.
That is what was highlighted yesterday, and they spoke about the enhancement of the capacity of the border management authority, which is a good thing, but it will take some time. Yes, I spent some time at the Criminal Record Center where I was dealing with forensics and fingerprints, and it's so frustrating to get to the crime scene and you look for fingerprints and you can't find fingerprints, or otherwise you find fingerprints but you can't match it with anything because the person whose fingerprints was found at the scene is undocumented. So the issue of undocumented individuals in South Africa is a serious challenge, but we are not saying it is only undocumented people who are committing crime. We want everybody who commits crime to be identified and be dealt with in the criminal justice system.
The Premier reckons a reform to the country's laws is what needs to happen to get that right. Is that the case? Yes. I mean, what does your experience say?
Reform is one thing, Program Director. Reform takes time. Let me give you an example. We have the guys in Gauteng that was initiated by the Premier. They are wearing a uniform, but there is no policy guiding how they should deal with crime in South Africa. They can roam around trying to be visible in terms of policing, but if they encounter a crime in progress, how are they going to deal with that? Because there's no law. So drafting laws dealing with crime takes long. My proposal was that if the police, who is having a responsibility to deal with crime in South Africa, can be supported, resources made available, while the legislation is put in place to accommodate either the security or other law enforcement agencies to join as a force multiplier. So we need the budget to be given to the police so that they can be able to have all the resources. Because you go to a police station, you hear the same thing, that there are no resources. sometimes the vehicles are taken to the service and then it takes long to come back, and then so people have lost trust in reporting cases to the police because nothing will happen.
Yeah. The president, though, yesterday said that the budget has been increasing at a rate higher than inflation. He did concede, though, that there are still fewer police personnel. And I suppose for people outside of the space, it's a bit counterintuitive. If more money is being made available, why do we have fewer police?
Yeah, I heard him saying it yesterday, but we don't have something on the table to indicate that the budget has been improved. But as you say, I heard him saying it yesterday, but I don't have the details. What we see on the ground is that if the budget is there, either is an issue of management, the budget is not being managed properly, so an investigation has to be conducted to see if the money is there and it's rolled over in the next financial year. Someone must be held accountable to say, we gave you money to deal with crime in a particular station and then we didn't spend. So you have to account.
Yeah. I'm more interested in finding out how we could work through this trust deficit, which I think is a huge hurdle for getting around to effective policing in our country. I mean, we know that police can't be everywhere all the time, and that's where the community comes in. But my goodness, there is such a chasm between just the levels of confidence that people have on or in police, I should say. Again, what does your expert or what's your expert advice about the best ways in which that could be addressed?
I was listening to community policing from people at the summit yesterday, their frustrations, how they are willing to risk their lives as long as they are assisted at the local level. And there's also the business people that are here. When they're talking about partnership, they're talking about partnership at a higher level. So it doesn't filter down to the station level where I call it a cold face, where crime is taking place. So we need to capacitate those people who are willing to assist the police at the local level. But it appears that the money that the president says is there is not filtering down to the station level. It ends up somewhere at the top there. So there is a need to investigate if indeed it's the truth that the money is enough to capacitate police at the local level. Where is this money? We need to locate this money as of yesterday because the community is bleeding out there. We saw the example of people in Soshanguve in the past month risking their lives, and then they ended up losing their lives because they're trying to protect themselves. But although we don't have the details how that occurred, it's still going to be investigated. But this is the disparate action by community members to try to make themselves safe in their communities.
Sure. Understandably, there are so many cynics among us who believe we don't need another summit. We just need police to get around to doing the work. And I suppose with that in mind, hopefully this is not reduced to nothing but a talk show. Professor Dumisani Mabunda, great speaking to you. Thanks very much indeed for your time. Professor Mabunda is a criminologist with the Police Practice Department at Unisa. Once again, day 2 of the Policing Summit currently underway. A 3-day gathering, and hopefully, as I mentioned, there are tangible outcomes on the other side of that process.